Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We have new developments now on a story we've been following for you. 5 students from Richland 44 High School have been charged with 10 felony counts and another 24 misdemeanors after an alleged hazing and sexual assault incident. Police say numerous interviews have been held with the students involved in the alleged offenses that happened in the boys' locker room. We previously reported to you that during the incidents, the lights were supposedly turned off and the victim held down and violated. The charges include hazing, sexual assault, felonious restraint, and terrorizing. Police say no females were identified as victims or suspects in this investigation. If you wish to read Valley News Live's past coverage on this case, click on this story at valleynewslive.com. Another burglary has hit the metro, this time in Moorhead, just a block away from MSUM, early yesterday morning. Police say 51-year-old Alberto St. Martin Lopez and 26-year-old Mohammed Gaib Mahmoud broke into an apartment, displayed a gun, and then a fight led to the stabbing of Lopez. Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz has more details about the neighborhood and steps the college just down the street took to keep students safe.
Stephanie Brecken has lived in the Romkey Park area of Moorhead for almost 5 years. She says it's the worst around.
It's not a surprise. A lot of drugs in this neighborhood.
She lives next door to the building where Lopez and Mahmoud reportedly burglarized 3 residents.
Neighbors tell me this front door and the back door are always locked.
Though police say the 2 forced their way into the actual apartment, we're not told how they got through the locked outside door. Police also believe they specifically targeted the residents.
I already know that there's drug dealers next door. Most likely it was a drug deal gone wrong.
Justin lives on the other side of the building.
There's a lot of activity up here.
Still, neighbors tell me the school, Minnesota State University of Moorhead just down the street, is very safe. MSUM's David Wahlberg says police notified the school about the incident. The school then dispatched public safety to that region. Still, the school didn't go into lockdown during the incident. Wahlberg says because around midnight, the buildings would have been locked anyway.
It would have required a card key access to get inside of a residence hall. The academic buildings are locked down as a matter of normal routine in the evening at that hour.
And student Helen Hassan says her school feels like a different world from down the block.
I feel like we're always hearing like some kind of story or the other about something that's going on, like, oh, there's a robbery or oh, there's a shooting. But it's like, even though it's so close to us, we don't really register that it's in this area.
Still, she says she thinks the school should have been on full-scale alert. In Moorhead, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
Alberto St. Martin Lopez was taken to Essentia for life-threatening injuries. Police continue to investigate the relationship between the 2 parties. Police say there's no public safety concern at this time. The warm temps have disappeared and we're left with cold, wind, and single digits. Hutch, are we dipping even lower tonight?
Oh, absolutely. And the north winds are pretty brutal out there, so that wind chill is something we once again will have crawling across the bottom of your screen. It's just been a cold winter, and that continues. Take a look at this. Wind chill advisory for our northern counties out towards Bemidji and Park Rapids, Langdon and Devils Lake. It's going to bite the ears tonight at -20 to -30. Here in Fargo, actual air temperatures slipping down towards 0, with the wind staying persistent at 10 to 20 miles per hour through the entire evening. Sub-zero readings along Highway 2 in Grand Forks and points north, and that's where it will be the most brutal. Now, we have a warm-up in store. We'll have details in your hour-by-hour forecast coming up here in a bit, but it will be brief. We'll tell you how warm we get, though, here in just a couple of seconds.
I think we'll take any warm-up we can get.
I agree
right?
with you there.
Yeah, thanks, Hutch.
You're welcome.
Developing tonight, sources tell Valley News Live that Congressman Kevin Cramer will run for the U.S. Senate seat against Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp. The source asked not to be named, but is a high-level campaign donor. Today, the GOP said he's reconsidering a bid for the Senate out of patriotism and because people from his party don't think Senator Heitkamp can be defeated without him. Cramer told the Associated Press he would make a decision by the weekend. Republicans hold a 51-49 Senate majority. Fire crews responded to a fire on the 2nd floor of the high-rise apartments near downtown Fargo earlier today. A report of smoke on the 2nd floor came in around 2:45 this afternoon. A firefighter on scene told us a resident created a small kitchen fire, but the sprinklers quickly put it out. There isn't believed to be any significant damage left behind by the fire. The teenage suspect in the massacre at a Florida high school has been charged with multiple counts of premeditated murder, and classmates are remembering warning signs that might have foreshadowed yesterday's violence, which killed 17 and sent 13 others to the hospital. Kenneth Craig has the latest from Parkland, Florida.
Thank you. Are you Nicholas Jacob Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
Nicholas Cruz arrived for his first court appearance in Florida's Broward County as a profile emerges of a troubled past.
You're going to be held without bond until further order of the court.
Classmates recall the 19-year-old threatening other students and bragging about killing animals before he was expelled from Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School for disciplinary reasons. He's now charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder. The victims in Wednesday's shooting include students, a campus monitor, and a dearly loved athletic director.
I feel like I'm in a dream. I don't believe this is real. There's no way to describe what happened.
Cruz had posted photos of himself on Instagram holding knives and guns. The Broward County Sheriff begged the public in the future to point out red flags.
Don't think about calling us, call us.
Investigators have been filling in a timeline for the rampage, starting with how the shooter walked right in fully armed.
This particular individual came on the campus at the time of dismissal, and that is a fairly open time.
Addressing the nation, President Trump avoided any specific reference to gun control.
It is not enough to simply take actions that make us feel like we are making a difference. We must actually make that difference.
While politicians debate the epidemic of gun violence, a shattered community gathered in prayer to remember the victims. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Parkland, Florida.
The leader of a white nationalist militia claims Cruz was a member of his group and participated in exercises in Tallahassee. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll have another story of an alleged school shooting plot that was foiled by a grandmother. 2 people are recovering after being hit by a car in Detroit Lakes. Police there say 2 people were found on Highway 10 near the downtown train depot just past 8:30 last night. The injured people were identified as 54-year-old Susan Holmer and 67-year-old Stephen Lorenzen, both from Detroit Lakes. The driver, 69-year-old Earl Johnson, is also from Detroit Lakes. The DL police chief says the victims were airlifted to a Fargo hospital, but there's no word on their conditions. The crash is still under investigation, and so far it's not known if any charges will be filed. After first clamping down on visitors because of the flu, CHI Alexius Health in Carrington has now lifted those restrictions. However, a hospital spokesperson says precautionary measures are still in place. People entering the hospital who show signs and symptoms of the flu may be asked to wear protective masks. The hospital also says people who come to the clinic are being asked to use protective masks and hand sanitizer. There's more information coming out on the investigation into University of Minnesota basketball star Reggie Lynch. Lynch was facing suspension and expulsion from the university for his alleged role in 2 sexual misconduct incidents. He has been accused of sexually assaulting 1 woman and having non-consensual sex with another. Both incidents allegedly happened back in the spring of 2016, but the university only began investigating the cases late last year. Lynch denies the claims made against him.
I would never commit sexual acts of any nature. I am angry that there is no real way to defend myself, and I feel helpless and powerless. My friends, family, and anyone who knows me knows the truth.
This isn't the first time Lynch has been accused of sexual misconduct. Lynch was arrested back in 2016 after another accusation of sexual assault. He was never charged in the case and cleared after an EOAA investigation. The new construction and development going on in downtown Moorhead may be just the beginning. The city has struggled with vacant buildings and business turnover in the downtown area. But a new effort is underway to do something about that. And that new effort has an advocate. Meet Derek LaPointe. He's the first downtown Moorhead president and CEO. It's his job to help the already thriving businesses in the downtown grow, to generate interest, to get new companies to locate there, and fix some of the issues that some would say have plagued the downtown for a long time.
Center Avenue is a massive opportunity. If that's done correctly, I think that opens the door for a lot of growth. Certainly the erection of buildings and other things like that will take time, but we have to go out and promote, we have to be an advocate, and we have to get those people at the table.
LaPointe says he's going to be looking for money from the city and the state to help with this undertaking. Perhaps something like the Renaissance Zone tax breaks, which have made a big difference in downtown Fargo. That's something he knows a lot about. He's been working as a planner for Fargo, managing downtown development. A public open house and meet and greet with LaPointe is set for early next month. Some people are being burned by their hair dryer, and there's a recall you might want to know about. Still ahead tonight.